everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a wedding update. So if you want to find out a little bit more and chat all things wedding with me, then keep watching. So hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing okay today. I'm doing fairly well actually. I'm alright today and I'm filming this in the kitchen for two reasons. One, I couldn't be bothered to carry my ring light upstairs. I don't know why, I was just being lazy. And two, I actually have washing out on the line, but if you live in the UK at the moment, you know that the weather is just bonkers. Like 1 minute, I'm in a summer dress right now, but that could all change later. I could be in a hoodie, I could be wearing a raincoat, but we just don't know. So I just want to keep an eye on the washing as well, because you know when you're like, you've got it out and I'm like, you will dry and I will not let a single drop of rain fall on you. So anyway, that's my my motive for today. I am filming this update because whenever I've mentioned it on like Instagram and things, because I've been talking about it a little bit recently, I get messages all the time for updates on here, like to go through it in a little bit more detail. And I thought I would go for it. A, because like, oh, it's fun to talk about, isn't it? And it'll probably help me like organise my head a little bit more, to be honest. But also I think that us COVID brides, like it is quite tricky, isn't it? And wanting to put faith in the situation, and hopefully we can get excited together and you can tell me your tips and I'll share mine, and we can just, you know, hopefully hope that this year is the year that we all say I do. As a bit of backstory for anyone that doesn't know, I'm Charlotte, I'm 33, I've already got 3 kids, and we've done everything backwards. Pretty much most of my life has been done the wrong way around, but that's okay because I'm so happy with the place that we're at now, and I'm so excited to marry the man that I love. I really, really am. And our wedding has always been booked for September 2021. And so we've always known that, and we just didn't allow ourselves to think about it last year. We didn't do all the planning that maybe you would do the year before your wedding. As it stands now, I'm doing all the planning 4 months before my wedding, which in some ways is stressful, I'm finding. But in other ways, why not just keep it all together and just get it done in one? It gives me something to focus on at the moment, which I feel like I need sometimes. And I like a challenge, she says. Now. But yeah, this is where I'm up to at the moment. So we hadn't done any planning for our wedding aside from booking a venue, booking the registrar, because we are having a civil ceremony, and then that was kind of it. I tried a few wedding dresses on, which I will touch upon in a second, but other than that we hadn't done anything else, just because I didn't want to get my hopes up, get disappointed. I had no idea what to expect. Obviously the vaccine rollout has been moving really positively, but it's only up until recently that I've started to put faith in the whole situation. We got an email from our venue at the end of April, and then it kind of hit that we had loads to do. And in the last 3 weeks we've been working together to try and sort things out, and we've got meetings booked, and we've got the fun stuff like wine tasting, which I'm well excited about, and just little things like that. So I just thought I would run through our like choices that we've made so far, where we're up to, areas that we're trying to pull back on a little bit, and the decisions that we've made. So as I mentioned before, our children being with us for this day has heavily impacted our choices, not only because we want them to have an amazing time, and we're so pleased that they're going to be there and they're going to remember it, and they get to be at like mama and dad's wedding. I think that's really, really cool. But also we want them to like enjoy it. We don't want them to get tired. We don't want them to get like overwhelmed or bored, because weddings can be boring when you're little. Let's be honest. So I'm really, really trying to focus on that. But also when you've already got a family, I think the financial implications of a wedding hit you so much more. So say for example, when I was younger, my parents gave me money towards a deposit for our house, which got me on the property ladder, and is something that I'm eternally grateful for. So for our wedding, it's only fair that we should be the ones like you know, putting the most money towards that. And my mum and dad have been so generous, and they're like putting like money down for like drinks for everybody, and they've helped us like secure like our deposit earlier on for our venue, but everything else we're doing. And we feel like that's the way it should be, but also every decision that we make, we feel like we spend too much on this, that could further impact us on a family further down the line. It could stop us doing nice things with the kids, and so we're trying to be really sensible in our decisions, but still have the wedding of our dreams, because we want it to be special, especially after the last year. It feels incredibly like emotional and poignant, and sometimes, especially, I'm an emotional person anyway, you probably know that if you followed me for any length of time, but I wear it with pride. Like my feelings and my sensitivity, I'm proud of that, but when I've been doing things and making decisions, I find myself welling up. I go on dog walks and I listen to like tracks that I think might be good for like this or that, you know, certain parts. I didn't realize you had to have so much music at your wedding. I did not realize this. So I've been doing that, and then like welling up and thinking, oh my god, yeah, I think that's the song, or I'll run that one by Mark. And I've just felt like so emotional. And in a way, I think that if we are able to get married on the day that we chose, with all the people there that we hope to have there, then we will be, there's a bee in here, we will be, literally said bee, and there's a bee floating around, but I'm all right, I'm fine, it's fine. Yeah, we will be so lucky, and it will make it even more special, I think. So when it came to venues and our style of wedding, that was one of the things that we really focused on. And I think I touched on this in an earlier video, which I'll try and link down below, or maybe put everything into a playlist. But we wanted a venue where people didn't have to move between, because that's really convenient. Again, with kids, I just felt like it would be an added cost as well if we had to rent like a nice car to do the journey with, or I didn't want the kids separated from us at all, because I feel like, especially my youngest, he's only 3, and I feel like he'd be quite anxious if I just like upped and left with his dad in a car, and then he was like, where are you going? So it's all contained in one area. That's one thing that we were looking for, and obviously that can sometimes keep like costs down to a minimum as well. But also we wanted it to like have outdoors, so like everyone could go out and get a fresh air. Hopefully in September the weather will be quite nice. It's early September, and September is normally quite kind to us weather-wise. May is rubbish at the moment, as we've already discussed in this video. So that's what we were looking at. And then we went to one venue. We singled out a few that we liked, but we went to an open day of one venue, and from the second that we pulled up and we went in, we just knew that that was the one. But more than anything, it felt like fate, because we didn't want anything too organized and too structured. We wanted something that was going to be really laid back. And we went into this venue, we had a look around. I was like just in love. I remember like I was just so happy, and I just knew that this was a place where we were going to get married, and Mark loved it as well. And then we were just looking around and like picking up like pamphlets and that kind of thing, because there is like suppliers that were at the open day and stuff. And then we went and stood in a quiet corner, because obviously there were loads of other couples there at the time, because it was pre-COVID, and you could, you know, like touch people or be in the same room with people. And we went to this little corner, and I saw the stand, and I was like, Mark, what's that? And it said something about something called Twilight Wedding. So before, as I mentioned this before, before anyone thinks we're like die-hard Edward fans and really into Twilight, we're not. It's basically the phrase that our venue, and I think other venues use to describe like a shorter wedding day, basically, where it starts later on in the afternoon, and you basically go from wedding to party quite quickly. And when we were reading through this, we were like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. Not only that, it was considerably cheaper, and it was kind of more flexible in a way. We felt like it'd be better for the kids, it'd be better for just like our kind of vibe and what we're into, and it just ticked all the boxes. And then when it came to deciding on a date, we tried to pick the closest date to when he proposed, which was in September of 2019. and we got our date, we got all that sorted. We were also influenced by the fact that these Twilight weddings could not be booked between the months of, I think it was June and August, or maybe May to August, because obviously those are key wedding months generally speaking, because everyone wants the nice weather. And we could also get it cheaper if we booked on a day like Thursday or Friday, so we ended up going for Friday. Also, we like the idea that then people could come to our wedding and have 2 whole days to just nurse a hangover and relax afterwards and still have their weekend. And not many of us have really been taking holidays in the past year or so, so we hoped that that would be a worthy enough thing for our friends and family to want to like sacrifice a holiday for. So that was that. I booked it and just was so excited, and then everything kind of ground to a halt. But in the last week we've made loads of decisions, and I just thought I would run them through them with you. One thing I want to share, my friend Kaylee, who you'll know on here like on Instagram as Friendly First Foods, right when we got engaged, she actually bought me a wedding planner, and this is from Amazon, I think, so you can find them if you just search for a wedding planner, you'll find one. But she's really encouraging me to start writing down, because I hadn't written in it because I didn't want to like write and plan and then get my hopes up and be really disappointed. But this is really helping me stay organized, and there's like tips in there about money. There's tips in here about like, you know, how to cut costs back, advice on how to do things. There's like a bit for a guest list, that kind of thing, venues and suppliers, so some of it we've done. And then just like our preferences, and even things like choosing your readings. That's something that I hadn't even thought about until I was chatting about it with Kaylee the other night, and I realised like there's just so many little bits that you don't necessarily think of when you're newly engaged or planning your wedding, and you kind of just think you need a venue and a dress and some food and drink and some music, which in all fairness those are the really important parts, but there are lots of other things that make up your wedding. So I would definitely get one of these. It's exciting, it gives you a place to refer back to, and it kind of keeps you up to date, because you'll do a lot of emailing and a lot of phone calls, and sometimes information can get lost. So let's talk about the things that we have booked. I have some stuff just to the left of me, so sorry if I'm fiddling around. Never that professional, am I? But let me get my dress. So this is my dress in here. I went for ASOS, and I'm just gonna lie him or her down for a second. I think the pandemic has influenced us in other ways too, because if I want to go on and try dresses now, bearing in mind I can't really do that to the way that I want to until maybe next week, where I can go like shopping with people. It didn't give me very long, and I also am very aware of the amount of weddings that will now be happening, and there'll be lots of women in my shoes who are trying to do everything last minute, and I didn't want anything to be rushed. I didn't want it to cut too close to the date, not have time to like make adjustments and things like that. And it was January where I just kind of thought maybe I'll just get an idea of what shape might look nice on me, because obviously I have had 3 children. I don't have the best figure now. I've got a doughy tummy, I've got stretch marks, I've got, not that I'm going to get my tummy out at my wedding anyway, but you definitely want to like smooth past those areas, don't you? My boobs aren't up here anymore, they're down here, and I have like stretch marks on my inner arms and like looser skin there from when I was a lot larger in life. Like I was a lot bigger at one stage, and I found it, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I also didn't know if I wanted to go into a wedding shop and try on a load of stuff with family and friends, but then feel like really like insecure and embarrassed and not have that time to sort of like get my head around it as well. So I thought I would do this as a preliminary thing and then maybe move from there. And I ended up finding a dress that I really, really liked, and it cost me £120. And I don't want to get it out like too much because like I'm not massively superstitious, because like I said, everything's been done the wrong way around. So if anything goes wrong now, I don't think it's because someone saw my wedding dress or what have you. But at the same time, I do kind of want to like keep it for myself for now. My friends and family members have all seen it, because I made a chat group with my family on Facebook Messenger, as you do, and tried a load of dresses on. And then I tried them on with Daisy and Bill. They were in the room with me. Stanley was asleep, Matt was downstairs. And tried them all on, sent them photos and stuff and asked for their verdict. And we all leaned towards this one dress. And it was still special in its own way. And I will still remember that. And I'm always going to have that conversation in my messages as well, which I feel like is really nice to like look back on. And we just found one dress that I feel like really worked. And it was £120. And there's a sneaky peek here. So it's got a bit of it's quite high necked, which I didn't think, but it's kind of got like a sheer bit in the middle, but it's not like really booby cleavagey. It's just very delicate and very pretty. And I bought it in a size 14 and it fits perfectly, aside from a few points that I'm gonna have dealt with by a seamstress. And I want to talk about this part because I think, like, generally speaking, most people will go and do all the shop thing and it's a huge part of your budget. I probably saved, like, I think the average wedding dress for a lot of people can be over £1,000. I've saved probably £1,000 in all honesty by the time I've like got one or had any adjustments or I found the one that I wanted. And I still feel amazing in it. I still feel special. And even the adjustments that I'm gonna have made aren't gonna be a huge cost for me. And I'm happy with my decision, I'm really happy. But yeah, so I have this. And then in terms of adjustments that I'm having made, as I mentioned before, my boobs aren't perky puppies anymore. I've breastfed one child and exclusively expressed, and the pump just sucked the life out of my boobs, in all honesty, and that's fine. They still look all right if like I angle myself right, you know, it's fine. And yeah, this dress, because of the way it's cut and it has a slightly backless bit, I can't wear like a bra and just get them all pushed up. So I'm having some boob cups sewn in, which I didn't even know was a thing. But I found a lovely seamstress. I asked on like a loose school Facebook group, could anyone recommend someone? And loads of people recommended her, and then she actually lives really close by. So I booked an appointment to go and see her in June with my dress to have like measurements done. She's going to pin bits where it needs taken in a little bit, because like I've got quite big hips, so obviously I'll always need like a 14 on the bottom, but parts of me are a little bit like smaller up top, so I think there's going to be a little bit of work that needs doing up here, and then also potentially some of the length sorting out a little bit, because it is quite long. I'm 5'6", which I think is average height, but I don't want anything that's going to hinder me from like moving around, and like if I need to pick up a kid or like run around after my kids or something on my wedding day, I want to be able to do that freely. And I'm not entirely sure, in all honesty, if I'm going to wear heels, because I have arthritis, I'm rubbish in heels anyway, and they hurt my feet a bit, so I might just find some pretty sandals and maybe a small heel, something like that, so I won't have that extra height necessarily. So that is what's going to be done. And then obviously if there are any other suggestions she can make in terms of like extra embellishments or things that I might want to tweak, then I can do. But I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to go and see her, and she's so lovely and really warm and friendly, and she made me laugh as well. So that's all booked in for June. Other things that we've done is we've booked our caterer now. Now with our venue, it's one of the things that we really like about it, aside from the flexibility with different types of ceremonies and wedding days you can have, is that it's kind of like there's the venue, and then they have loads of chosen suppliers that they have vetted, they've worked with before, they thoroughly recommend, and that are very available for you, and they have like a really close working relationship with these suppliers. So there's several caterers that you can choose from, that it's really comforting to know that just people have had it before and recommend them. And then there's loads of different price variations as well, which is really handy, you know, for someone like us where you are trying to like watch money. So There was like hog roast, there's more fine dining, you know, like a proper wedding breakfast type thing where you've got like starter, main and dessert, that kind of thing. There's like tapas and that kind of thing. But we have gone for a business that basically makes like wood-fired pizzas. We got engaged on the Amalfi Coast back in September 2019. We all love pizza. It's like kind of a bit of a nod to that. But also we just thought it'd be really fun that people can go up, they can order like a gluten-free one, they can order a vegan one, there's loads of options there. You can pick the one that you want, they're gonna do sides, it's gonna be really like casual and just a bit of fun and flexible for everybody. And I'm so gonna ask for a picture of me in a wedding dress eating a slice of pizza because I just think that's wicked. Sorry, battery change. Right, it's gonna be a long one, I think. Yeah, so that's what we have gone for. So we've gone for pizza, which is completely not traditional in any way, shape or form. But I think that's something to like really, that we've really enjoyed, that we've realized that we want to make it special for us and like do it our way, and you can do things differently and save money in that way, and you know, just go for it. If it's something that you want and you think that it's going to be like fun, it's going to save you some pennies, it's just a little bit different, then I'm 100% encourage you. We kind of feel as well that like pizza is kind of like a thing that everybody really enjoys. There's going to be sides and salads as well, and yeah, they're gonna come because of the ceremony being later on. So the ceremony is at 4, and then when it's finished, we start eating from like maybe 6 onwards. They're gonna be there for a few hours as well, so people can go back and keep eating. And that's what we really liked about that. And then in terms of cake, my friend Kaylee, again, her mum makes the most amazing cakes, and Kaylee suggested like, why don't you ask her? So her mum might make it, but I don't want to put pressure on her either, so that's a possibility. But also she suggested something from Marks and Spencer's called a cheesecake, and I don't mean like a typical cheesecake, you know, like biscuity base and all that good stuff, but an actual cake made out of like actual cheese. So it's like a big tower of different cheeses, and then like, gonna have some like crackers out as well. So then if people are hungry later on, they can eat cheese, they can eat crackers, they can eat cake, and then obviously the pizza's still there and whatever until 9. So that's like our general plan. We don't want anyone to be hungry. We don't want anyone to like feel like they've not been fed enough, because that's like my worst nightmare. I'm a feeder. Like if you come to my house, I will make too much food, and that is a fact. So that's the plan with that. And then obviously at the wedding, in terms of alcohol in this venue, there's a bar there, which is so convenient because you can just go up and like order stuff, but we're also gonna like make sure we put loads of like wine and like prosecco on every table, that kind of thing. So that's the general plan, and that's something that my mum and dad want to do for us because they're just amazing, bless them. So that's what we sorted out. And then the next thing that we've already organised is our photographer. Now obviously like I do YouTube, and one thing that I was really torn on was that do I want to film our wedding, because part of me really did, but then I looked into the cost, and on average, for where I live at least anyway, and looking at all of these different videographers that have been recommended to me, they cost around £2,500 to £3,000, if not more in some cases. Some people come laden with drones and like 4 types of camera. It's a lot of equipment, it's a lot of work. Like I film vlogs, and while I'm not even at any standard that they are, I know the amount of work that goes into doing that and setting up shots and stuff. And we just decided that we couldn't justify £2,500 to £3,000 additional on top of what we're already spending. And I think what I am going to do is potentially take cameras like I'm filming on at the moment, just leave them all on the table with a little note, and encourage people if like they want to pick it up and film a few bits, or like film a message to leave us as a surprise, things like that, then they can do. And I'm confident in my decision, because the Mind is the most beautiful camera anyway, and I'm so pleased with our photographer as well. I'm really pleased with him. So we had a look around for ages. Photography is funny because when you think of like getting a photographer initially, you just kind of think, oh, I'll just pick someone that like price is good, they come recommended. But when you really go into researching photographers, you'll really appreciate the different styles and techniques that every single one has. And we went through loads, we really did, and we really thought very long and hard about it. One of the biggest things for me is the way that a photographer uses light. And also I wanted something that wasn't going to be too staged. Don't get me wrong, like a few of those proper stage shots that you do get at a wedding, they're stunning, aren't they? You know, when you take some beautiful ones of the bride and the groom and you just like, oh my god, that's gorgeous. I do want photos like that, but what I'm really looking forward to looking back on are photos of people having fun and being silly, people on the dance floor, the way my kids look when we're getting married, like their little faces, you know, just seeing my grandparents sat in the aisles and stuff, and like just little things like that. And we just found a guy that in the end just really embodied it. Like his photos were so like, they were just like a freeze frame of real life. They were just so like, everybody was still, but the photos felt so alive at the same time, and I'm so excited. So we reserved him, like paid our deposit this week, and he's amazing. Obviously again, because our wedding's slightly shorter, we can like get a better deal for like the amount of time that people are there, so we can make sure that he's there until later on, because what I was really keen to get were photos of people having fun. Obviously I want photos of the ceremony and things like that, but I just really wanted to capture people's essences, especially after the past year, because when COVID was like in its height, especially like around March, April, May time last year, I was absolutely terrified that I was going to lose people that I really cared about. And I feel very blessed and very fortunate to have everybody that we love still here, and hopefully still here by September, and that means the world to me. I want all of these people to have the most amazing time, and yeah, we're really excited about that part. Like I just can't wait to look back at those photos already. I think they're going to mean the world, and obviously I will try and capture bits and stuff. Like I would love to be able to share some things on here, but it's just finding a way of doing that like I'm comfortable with and doesn't take away from my wedding, and take away from my day, because typically I'm always the one with the camera. I'm always taking photos of people that I love and care about. I'm always the one that's filming, and I really need to make sure that like I am not feeling the pressure to do that on a really special day. So that's that sorted. And then other things that we've arranged are like, I'm finally doing invites. We told those people anyway when the date was. Like the people that are really important to us, they already know when it is, and they already know that they were like invited, but we just didn't want to make that jump because the thought of having to uninvite someone kind of broke our hearts a little bit. But we're doing that now. So I've got like the prices for little invites that we're going to send out and things like that now. And then in terms of guest numbers, this is the big part that really decides how expensive your wedding is going to be, because obviously the more people, the more food, the more drink, the more space you need, the more like plates and cutlery and things that you might need to hire depending on your venue. And we've decided to keep our like numbers relatively small. I think they're around 75-ish at the moment. We're not having day and night guests, we're just having come for the whole shebang guests, and we're just trying to keep it small, because we still don't know what will happen with COVID. I'm very cautiously like optimistic, and I'm more optimistic than I have been in a very long time. But again, I don't want to have that added stress of like, say maybe a couple of weeks before my wedding, I'm suddenly having to cancel or like ring up a load of people and apologise. So we're still keeping it intimate, and we're still keeping it like relatively small, which again, you know, in the grand scheme of things, is probably quite a sensible thing to do as well. It's not a thing you have to do, because after June, fingers crossed, you can have as many people as you want there. But we just felt like it would be a nice intimate wedding, which is what we want, like our nearest and dearest there. friends for the kids to play with. We've got like some family friends anyway, like kids that we know really well, and like we love their parents to bits, so they're going to be there, which should be really fun for them. And we're just gonna, excuse my washing machine, we're just gonna try and keep it small. It could change, maybe we'll like add a few more people to the list if we do feel like a little bit more quietly confident at a later date, but right now we've kind of fixed on who we want there, and we're quite happy with that choice. And that's another thing, you can be put under a lot of pressure when you are organising a wedding, particularly say like family members are paying for it and putting money towards it, and you've got to invite this person and that person, and you know, that like auntie that's 2 times removed that you've never actually really met before, because family politics can sometimes get in the way. And in a way, COVID kind of pushed us to be able to make decisions that like feel right for us, and really like think about like who we want there. And it is really difficult because there are so many people that actually like I would love to invite, but I feel like we've just got to be quite firm on the decisions that we've made. So that's where we're at with that. And yeah, I've got a meeting to discuss decor and stuff and flowers in June as well, and we're going to another open day at our venue just to sort of get like warm fuzzies and get excited again, which is really I'm really looking forward to those things actually, because I think it's going to make it a little bit more real. But with decor, that is the area where you can spend a lot of money. And we, again, are quite lucky with our venue that there is a dressing like company, like she does all this amazing interiors and stuff that works with the venue if you want to hire her and stuff. We saw her price list and it was surprising. Like, we expected things to be so much more expensive in our heads, so now it's like weighing up that whole concept of we could save money if we do this, but in the grand scheme of things, will it save us time and stress if we spend a little bit more to make it look, you know, like the place of our dreams? And obviously, if you know me well by now, you'll know that I love me a fairy light. I love me like some flowers and greenery and that kind of thing, but I also don't want it to be too overdone. I've seen some weddings that are absolutely stunning and opulent and so luxurious and just look like a princess wedding, but I think ours is going to be a little bit more modest in that respect. I've had suggestions from people to do things like photo booths and things like that. I'm kind of just hoping that we can just do something like maybe pick and choose, maybe get the decor like arranged in such a way that like they do a better job and a safer job anyway, because there's a lot of high beams that you can string lights on and stuff like that. But maybe do some extras where like maybe I come up with like a photo booth, maybe make my own props or buy my own props or do something that way, something fun for people. And then another thing that I've decided to do, because we've got children attending, I'm going to do goodie bags for each of the children. So little bags with like little things in, just going to go to like B&M or the pound shop or something like that and spend some money on these kids so that they have a really nice time, that their parents have a really nice time, and that everything's just a little bit more relaxed. And I really want like my friends who have got kids that are coming to know that like you don't need to worry about your kids' behaviour, it's fine, we're all going to have a nice time. And I want the kids as well to have the opportunity to request songs at the disco and have a laugh, and they're going to be fed pizza, which they're going to love, and I'll put some sweeties in the goodie bags and stuff like that. And yeah, that is kind of where we're up to. So some places that I probably will be looking in the coming months are places like B&M, Poundland, that kind of thing. Looking online for little decor bits potentially. Amazon always have some great bits. Hobbycraft is fantastic. I've made my own like Christmas decorations from there, you know, like with wood, like bark rings, you know, like circles of wood that you can use as like in the center of a table with like a little jar. You could save some jars from jam, ask friends and family members to save those and fill them up with little light flowers. So there were loads of different things that we can do, but we're just not 100% decided on that yet, because also we've been in lockdown for a very long time, and this could potentially be the summer that we've all been dreaming of. And I do want to enjoy it, so we're just gonna like keep an eye on our budget and see what we can achieve. Oh, and one final thing that I've got to mention, I should have mentioned it with my dress, hair and makeup. I have decided, I've had my friend Jen who does my hair anyway. She is a hairdresser and she like does my balayage and my cut and stuff. I'm actually seeing her in June to have a refresh anyway, because she'll probably tell my ends are a bit ratty now. So she's going to be doing my hair because she also has like a wedding styling service. Her work is amazing. It's stunning. And she'll be doing that, and I'm actually going to get extensions. I really wanted my hair to be long. It's what I feel most beautiful with. I love long hair on me. It makes me feel really like feminine, and I just enjoy the way it makes me feel in my skin. And I'm going to have extensions, but clip-in ones that I can reuse again and again. So for like nights out or for days where I just fancy being a little bit more like spicy, I have some clipping, which is like a bit of an investment, but also one that I feel like will just keep giving over time. So she's going to do that. Probs will have flowers in my hair. Probs will have curly long hair. I'm very like boho because that's just my kind of style. And then makeup, I'm actually going to do myself. I don't profess to be the best at makeup in the world whatsoever, but I do very much want to feel and look like me on my wedding day. Had my makeup done in the past and never really felt 100% with it. I've always snuck off afterwards and like touched it up or changed little bits. And also what I figured is that I would treat myself nearer the time. I'll get some recommendations. So if you've got any recommendations down below for fantastic makeup that maybe you wore at your wedding, or products that you really recommend that like last really well, that are like, I'm going to treat myself. So maybe some high-end stuff. I'm going to treat myself to some new makeup that not only will I wear on my wedding day, but then can continue to use. And that just feels really cost effective and quite fun for me. So if you want me to do a video like sharing like a haul of what I've bought nearer the time, and maybe even a video of how I'm planning on doing my makeup, then let me know in the comments down below, because I'd be more than happy to do that. Like I say, I am not an expert and I probably haven't got like the greatest skills in the world, but I feel confident enough to make me look the way I want to look on my day. And that's it, you've got to do you, haven't you? So I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions down below. Let me know how you're doing with your planning, if you've got any tips or hints or tricks. Very much appreciated, and fingers crossed that this is the year we get to say I do, because it would mean the world to me. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will hopefully see you all very, very soon.